My name is Amanda Blevins, and I'm going to be talking about acid rain. I'm a student at East Tennessee State University, and the class that I am taking this semester is called Indigenous Approaches to Environmental Justice. Acid rain is rain that's been made acidic by certain pollutants in the air. And it is a type of acid deposition which can appear in many forms. And there are two forms. There's wet deposition, which includes rain, sleet, snow, or fog. And then there's a dry deposition. This is when gases and dust particles become acidic. Both the wet and dry deposition, it can be carried by the wind, sometimes very long distances. And it can fall on buildings, trees, cars, and makes lakes acidic, which is dangerous for aquatic life. And the dry form can be inhaled by humans, and it can cause health problems in some people. What is acidity? Okay, well, acidic and basic are two ways that we describe chemical compounds. And how we do that is we use a pH scale. And it measures from 0 to 14. 0 is the most acidic, and 14 is your most basic, or you can call it alkaline. And as you can see, pure water is at 7.0. And when it's neither basic nor acidic, um, the compound is considered neutral. Well, acid rain is acidic, and it falls on 3 and 4. So on the next slide, when looking at the pH scale, here's some examples of compounds and where the acidic rain falls. It falls between 3 and 4. So 3 is soda and 4 is tomato juice. So yes, it falls further down onto the pH scale, which makes it more acidic. Okay, so what causes acid rain? Well, humans are the main cause of acid rain. And over the past few decades, we've released so many chemicals into the air that they've changed the mix of gases in the atmosphere. And as you can see in the picture, power plants release the majority of sulfur dioxide and then much of the nitrogen oxides when they burn the fossil fuels such as coal to produce electricity. Also, exhaust from cars, trucks, and buses releases nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide into the air, and these pollutants is what causes the acid rain. So when we think of nature, we think about balance. And even though that we do have acid rain, some of the acid rain that is found is actually naturally acidic. And this falls with a pH level of about 5. But with our activities, we have made it worse. Normal precipitation, like we see with rain, sleet, and snow, it often reacts with the alkaline chemicals that can be found in the air, our soils, in the bedrocks, and lakes in the streams. And these reactions usually neutralize natural acids. But if precipitation becomes too acidic, these materials may not be able to neutralize all the acids. And over time, these neutralizing materials can be washed away by acid rain. And this causes damages to crops, trees, lakes, and rivers. And the aquatic life can be affected as well. So air pollution like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides can cause respiratory diseases, or it can even make them worse. Asthma and chronic bronchitis make it hard for people to breathe. And the pollution that causes acid rain can also create tiny particles. And then when people breathe these particles into their lungs, it can cause health problems or can make existing health problems worse. Also, nitrogen oxide causes ground level ozone. Ground level ozone causes respiratory problems like pneumonia and bronchitis and can even cause permanent lung damage. Some of the health effects that people have to worry about are not caused by the acid rain, but are caused when people breathe in these tiny particles or ozone. Now, I want to make a note that swimming in an acidic lake or walking in acidic rain or something like that is not going to be harmful to people. It's just like swimming in a neutral, pure water lake or stream or something like that, or walking in clean rainwater. How acid rain affects our forest is the acid rain seeps into the ground and it can dissolve important nutrients like magnesium and calcium that trees need to be healthy. It also causes aluminum to be released into the soil, and this makes it hard for the trees to absorb water. Trees that are located in higher elevations are at a greater risk because they're exposed to acidic clouds and fog, and these contain greater amounts of acid than rain or snow. The acidic clouds and fog strip important nutrients from their leaves and needles, and this makes it easier for diseases to get into the trees, be affected by insects and cold weather damage. Okay, so how acid rain harms plants is it impacts the soil just like it does the trees. It releases the aluminum and then the plant can't absorb water, which affects the root lengths, the leaf numbers, the growth of the plant. Okay, so since most lakes and streams have a neutral level, the aluminum that's being released into the soil, it lowers these pH levels, which makes them more acidic. So when you increase the acidic levels, this is very deadly to the aquatic life because as you can see, the critical pH levels and anything lower than that will kill them. And you can click on this video link that I provided. It talks about the impact of acid rain on the aquatic life in the Appalachian Mountains. And it's very interesting. It's a short video. Okay, so we're going to look at the cultural and economic disparities. And as you can see in the picture, the sulfate concentration in the Adirondack Lakes have slowly declined over the 25 years. And in the central Appalachian region, there's not really been a change. And we'll go on to the next slide. Okay, so we're going to look at the Central Appalachian region, and as you can see with the sulfate, it's not really changed in the past 25 years. This line has remained flat, and scientists are kind of getting they're trying to find out why, and they believe that geology is a factor and also weathered soil, because sulfate tends to stick to weathered soil. But they had stated in the late 1980s that the sulfate was not really being retained in the soil and it wasn't being released in the water, but it is now. Now, when we talk about the Adirondack Mountains, the acid rain did occur, and then, but almost immediately the recovery began. Also, in the central area of the Appalachian region, the acidification came at a slower pace, but recovery has been slow. Okay, so when you look at this picture, you can see the effects from the acid rain. It does affect monuments, tombstones, statues, and it's very costly. Worldwide, it costs $2 to $3 trillion a year for us to repair the damage caused by what we actually do. Okay, so this is just an article that I came across with News Channel 11 in Johnson City. They had talked about how Eastman was fined in 2015 for their emission violation, and they had just paid almost a $15,000 fine for polluting the Holston River. This is an air pollution index for Kingsport, Tennessee in 2012, and as you can see, the lead index is 205. That is twice the national average. The national average is at 100. Lead is very dangerous to children. It can affect their development, and it is important for children to be tested for lead levels. And they usually do this when they begin preschool. Okay, so the laws, regulations, and policies can be found on the EPA's website. I had included two links at the bottom of the slide. You can look it up if you are interested. Um, and the EPA is really committed to, protecting our health. They want to improve the air quality and reduce air pollution. And they have an acid rain program, and this program, they go into these companies and they look at how much is being released into the air, and they limit the sulfur dioxide and the nitrogen oxides, and they issue them allowances, and to cover their sulfur dioxide emissions, and the quote at the bottom that helped me really understand is they are called a regulatory agency because Congress authorizes them to write regulations that explain the critical details necessary to implement these environmental laws. Um, and it's just really interesting to look at their website. It gives you a lot of information. So one way we can help is to conserve energy. We can turn off lights when we're not in a room, turn off the computers, televisions, and video games. We can buy equipment that uses less energy. And if we are driving like a short distance, we could walk or carpool. And don't turn up the heat. Put on a sweater. And this is the conclusion to my PowerPoint. Thank you for watching.